up, everybody? It is Saturday, June 15th, 2019. This is Radio Tokyo. I'm Jonathan. I'm here. Nick's here. You know what, Nick? I think that's the first time I've said that since we've gone back to doing the show.
It might be. Hello, everybody.
Seems strange to go back to doing that because I remember before we stopped, I said we needed to update things. But no, why ruin tradition? You know, traditions are a thing.
Not only are they a thing, they're a beautiful thing when done correctly.
Yes, they're a beautiful thing here in our village of Anatevka.
So, did you do your homework this week?
No, because school is out, I will have you know.
School is never out. We are always learning. You hear
No,
that, kids?
no,
You hear that, kids? We are
no,
always
don't
learning.
listen to him. School's out for summer.
No, all of you have homework. I'm assigning
No,
homework to
no,
everyone.
no. Nobody has homework.
See, this is why I can't be a teacher. I would teach people for their entire lives. I would pop up at their wedding being like, did you study for the test?
Well, okay, well, I will say that I did actually do some learning this week because I went somewhere today and it's something I should have been putting it off, but I went to the movies to see Daikaiju Fight 2019.
You mean the greatest monster fight movie ever?
Yes. If any of you have not yet gone to see, you're getting text messages during the show, young man.
I hear that was surprising. I'm sorry for that. But
Somebody wants your attention. But no, I didn't go see it when it was at my local theater. I don't know what possessed me to do something like that. But my sister wanted to go, and we picked today, and we were going to go to my local theater. But for whatever unknown reason, I guess after it hit the 2-week mark, they said, nope, we're going to get rid of it. And I got rid of it. And so we had to go to one town over. And let me say this, okay? I have never complained in my life about the cost of going to see a movie because my local theater is amazing. They have a special there. It's a large popcorn and a large drink. It's $7. That's not that bad. The ticket price at most places, that you go to the movies is probably about $7 minimum. So being able to get, food and drink for that is relatively cheap. And the tickets are like $4, maybe 6 at night. That's about it. Going to this place, we got it was me, her, and her cousin, and then her adopted son or something like that. Anyway, $54 for snacks for 4 people. 4 drinks, 2 large popcorns, 3 things of candy, and a nacho to split between all 4 of us. $54. I didn't see the ticket prices, but I would bet you it's probably about $10 or $12 per person. So that's about $100 just to go see a movie.
yeah, I think our local theater, if I remember right, is about $10 or so for tickets. So it really depends on the theater you're at. A lot of the bigger, more modern theaters are definitely a bit more expensive, which is why a lot of people do pirate. Not that we're encouraging pirating, but why people
Don't pirate
now.
movies. It's illegal.
Yeah. So it's one of those weird things where not as many people are going to see the movie, so the movie theaters feel like they have to raise the prices up so to cover the loss of viewers. But at the same time, that makes people not want to go see the movies because it's so expensive now.
It is, but one of the neat things about it, well, I say neat, it's not particularly neat. I think part of it is, even though there is still something awesome about going to see a movie in a theater, a lot of it is because a lot of people just wait for home movies. Well, not home movies, like when I was little and we go to Blockbuster and get a movie. No, I mean like HBO or Showtime or Some people will just watch it on Netflix or some other streaming service. Because I mean, why would you, go to the movie theater and get something? But if I'm going to watch specific things like, giant daikaiju fighting, I will be going to see it in the movie theater, and I'm going to sit there. And even though I have, really bad headaches that can be caused by bright lights, I will say I greatly enjoyed this movie. And I just realized we haven't actually said what I went to see yet.
Well, I'm pretty sure that people can figure out what you saw because
I
people are
would think,
smart. People are smart.
I would think by me saying Daikaiju Fight 2019, they're probably where I'm talking about Godzilla King of the Monsters, but it's great. It's probably okay.
And
Let me preface. Go
wait
ahead.
before you start on your rant.
I'm not
So
gonna rant.
I just checked. You always rant. Um, the tickets would be $10.50 for me if I went tomorrow at like 1 o'clock, which is fairly expensive. But I agree with you. There are things that I would not want to see the first time in my home. And something like Godzilla is one of those things because you're going for the spectacle. You're going to see what's on the screen in all of its glory.
Exactly. It's like going to see I have seen, thanks to the re-releases of the original trilogy, I have seen every Star Wars movie in the theater except for some, because I will never watch that movie. It's not that I have no desire to watch it. It's got Emilia Clarke in it. I love Emilia Clarke. I love Donald Glover. But I have literally no desire to watch that movie. It doesn't seem, interesting to me. But
It
I did
At
go
most I've
see
heard
Rogue
it's
One.
okay.
That's about the only response you get is it's okay. But like with Rogue One, oh, Rogue One was amazing. That was great. People go on and on about Rogue One, and the only criticism people seem to have is, well, why would I go see a movie if I know the ending of it? Because it's interesting to see it. It's a well done movie, and I'm totally sorry, but if you don't want to go sit through that, uh, you might choke on your aspirations, director critic. That's about my response, because I'm sure like 99% of the people have seen a specific clip in there, which I don't want to spoil it, but it's near the end of it, and trust me, the build up to that is better if you've seen the movie. And I watched it in theater, and people went out of their minds when it happened. It was crazy. I went to go see Force Awakens. No, wait, I did not see The Last Jedi in the theater. I just now realized that. Wow, I just told a fib. Um,
But aren't
so
you glad about that decision?
yes and no. Um, this is probably a story for another time. I didn't like The Last Jedi. I'm sorry.
Haven't
It it
haven't we
it.
talked about it? Did we talk about it?
I don't think we did.
Well, okay, both of us hate The Last Jedi.
I don't hate it.
Okay, well,
It's. I mean.
I
I
hate
mean. I mean. I mean. It's Star Wars. Kind of hard to hate Star Wars. I just didn't like it, and I get the whole.
it.
We're trying to make Star Wars for the future generations and
I actually
whatnot,
hate it with a passion.
but like, it's like Bo Burnham doing like his country song. It's pandering. That's literally all it is to me. And if I'm gonna watch a movie like Star Wars, I don't want to know I'm being pandered to. It's like a 2.5 hour long commercial for toys, like the Transformers movie was in the '80s, and even the Michael Bay ones. It's a toy commercial, or the second Tron movie. is like a 2 hour long uh, advertisement for oh, I just forgot the band. Oh, Daft Punk. You know, it's like a 2 hour long advertisement with them, and that's fine. That's great. It's wonderful. But
It did make me
I
listen to
don't.
a lot of Daft Punk, I have to admit.
It's they've got great music, but I just I didn't enjoy watching it. You know, it wasn't very good to me.
It was one of those weird things because you would have thought if they were going to go for pandering in that heavy-handed manner, they would have done it with The Force Awakens and built the story in The Last Jedi. But it was the reverse of that, and it doesn't make sense to me at all.
Well, okay, Force Awakens did pander,
Yes,
but
I
it
mean
did it it, it,
I
it
know
it
it
did it in
pandered.
the right way. It did it in the right way. Um,
I'm okay with a little pandering.
and by the right way, I mean J.J. Abrams very clearly was trying to recreate the magic of Star Wars as it came out in '77. Like that's why there's so many common things there. And I know within the larger Star Wars canon that events tend to repeat themselves. It's great. It's wonderful. It's cool. Um,
Yeah,
but there's a way you do that, and then there is, and I made a promise to myself I was not going to use profanity on this episode, but I have to say this. Okay?
I've broken you already.
No, no, I'm breaking myself here. There is a way to recapture the magic of an older movie, like they did with Star Wars '77 in The Force Awakens, and then you have trying to recapture the magic of Empire Strikes Back, and you fuck it up by making The Last Jedi. That's exactly what that was. That was entirely missing the point of Empire Strikes Back. It did not have the emotional impact. It had a stupid storyline. The tangent where they go to the casino planet, that was dumb. That didn't need to exist. And I am sorry. I don't want to upset anybody. I don't get Rose Tico. Like I
So
don't get why it is I'm supposed to think she's wonderful and amazing, and again, I'm not saying it because I don't like the character. There's just it's possible to like something and to critique it, and I like Star Wars a lot. That's why I critique it so much. Like we've done this how many times now where we find something we like and we just complain about every aspect of it because you kind of have to. It didn't mean, like I said, that I hate it because I don't. It's Star Wars. Of course, I'm gonna love it. It's Star Wars. It's Star Wars. You know, but I
I
just
mean, I when Rose kissed Finn, I actually laughed out loud. It there there I laughed so hard out loud. It was but it was a sad kind of laughter. It was the laughter of all joy from this movie just evaporating
it
in front.
okay. What it was, and again, this is me being critical here. What it was supposed to be is okay. If you remember in the Force Awakens, there's a scene where Finn keeps grabbing Rey's hand and he's trying to pull her along as they're running away from the first order soldiers, troopers, whatever you want, stormtroopers. I guess they're supposed to be storm. I don't know. I don't know. I don't care. Um, and she's like, "No, don't grab my hand. I can run." That's great. I love that. And the reason I love it is because they're trying to make Rey an actual female hero. And Star Wars has only really had the one. So it's great to see her, doing something heroic. And she's like, no, I can stand on my own. Well, they kind of try to make Rose and Finn into Leia and Han. But if you remember, the way it was in Empire Strikes Back, Han kept hitting on Leia, and she wanted to be Miss Independent. Well, this there doesn't seem to be, a relationship building type thing going on. There's nothing to that whole thing where she kisses him. It's just all of a sudden she's kissing him, and
Not
in the
not only that, but
and when she's
in the
first introduced,
background, while they're kissing, the mini Death Star laser is opening up the base so that all of
yeah,
their friends can be slaughtered.
yeah, yeah, we're watching. It's like there's a better time for that, and it honestly. Okay, and I say this having written a book. Okay, I wrote and self-published a book. That's part of what I did in the downtime in the in the show. I wrote a book. Okay, there's a time and a place in a story to do something like that. And in the middle of a battle, you don't run up to someone and kiss them. Now, you might say, thank you, whatever, you saved my life, whatever. I don't get it with this. I don't understand why they had Rose do what she did. I mean, Finn was going to take the machine out, and it was, spoiler alert, Finn was going to take it out and destroy it. Great. Let him do it.
I,
Let him
I
sacrifice himself to save others. Nope,
like
Rose does
if
it.
they had let Finn sacrifice himself, that I thought for one brief moment that was going to save the movie when I was watching it, because it was a big emotional impactful moment. Like
Yes,
this
exactly.
this was Finn doing everything he could to finally face and stop the First Order, who he's always run
Yes,
from.
exactly.
And
And
it was the completion of his character arc.
that's what I was about to say. It's you see him you see him snap from the training of the First Order, and he wants to defeat them. Well, here's the last remnants of the First Order. He can take out their most dangerous weapon in one move, and oh, here comes Rose Tico because I love you. No, that is bad storytelling. That is almost as bad as David Benioff and D.B. Weiss did to season 8 of Game of Thrones. And I love Game of Thrones. I enjoyed the episodes. I am taking deep breaths right now, but the final season had problems. It had a
I,
lot of them.
I hate to say this, but yeah, Game of Thrones was worse than the last season.
And I don't want to say that. I really don't. I want to like it so much. So much. But here it is. Like,
But we've already ranted about that.
we're like, what, 3 months away from it? No, not
We,
3 months, 3 weeks away from it having aired, and people are still talking about it. They're still making videos about, well, on YouTube, about what's wrong with it. Because
about
it's
water
that
bottles.
bad. Yeah, about Game of Thrones.
And
I
about
mean,
water bottles in Game of Thrones.
well, the water bottles. Oh, man. Now you gotta bring that up. Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 water bottles that show up in one scene. There's a coffee cup from yeah, a food
Some
truck, you
local
know.
store.
Well, you find out in the documentary about it that it wasn't a local store; it was actually like a food truck type thing. It wasn't so much catering, but it was a little thing that set up at the studio they recorded everything at. That's what it was. It's fine. I know mistakes happen, but you had 7 seasons before that where
It
they didn't have those mistakes, and
And the
all of a
fact that
sudden,
they had 2 years worth of production time and editing time and didn't catch this just shows a lack of care.
okay. I don't know. It's necessarily a lack of care because
Well,
I totally understand missing
well,
things. Because hang on, the
no, wait,
reason.
wait, wait,
Let, let,
wait,
let, let
wait.
me let me finish this thought. Let me finish one thought. The reason I took my book off of sale on Amazon and I'm not trying to get people to buy it right now is because I realized I had missed things in it. Not just me, but people who had bought copies of the book realized, oh, there was a few spelling errors and there's other things in there that I need to fix. So I'm working on, updating it and fixing it.
Okay,
That's editing.
Yes,
They should have done that with this.
I totally get that. But that was self-published work. This is professional studio work. Not only that, they had done this for 7 seasons beforehand, and we have never seen these mistakes before. And those 7 seasons were done in 1 year time each. So I don't. I normally I will give people the benefit of the doubt if I read a book and I catch something and I'm like, oh, I guess they just meant. But this this is just this just seems like carelessness to me.
I just I don't want to call it that. That's me trying to be nice, you know.
I mean, ordinarily I would be nice. I'd try to be, really nice and hopeful and everything, but I can't with this because they were offered so much time, so much effort, so much money. Everyone was encouraging them to take their time. Everyone. HBO was, George R. R. Martin was. Everyone was pushing for more episodes to develop the story. HBO was offering them more money to make it better. And they just seemed like they said screw it and let's just get this done as fast as we can.
Well, okay, there was an interview that I would play, but I don't really want to have to go find the clip right now. Where he was at, I forget who asked him this. It was like, I don't remember. It didn't matter. Anyway, they asked him about how he felt about it being 8 seasons, and like you said, and his response was, "Well, I tried to get them to go to 10. There's enough material just for just for this show. They could have gone to 10, and they originally wanted like 6 or 7, and he was able to get them to go to 8,
I think it was 6 originally. They wanted to stop at 6.
Something like that, and it just it makes me sad, especially because if you look at the interviews that Benioff and Weiss gave, um, especially about Daenerys and some of her, like for example, the
Not
best
just
quote
her,
is,
all the actors. Like
yeah,
every actor I saw interviewing about the last season,
yeah,
they all seemed sad and disappointed.
they were,
And
but
I know a lot of them did want to move on. They did not want to keep doing Game of Thrones forever, which is understandable. But it's all of them seemed like they were willing to do more to make that last season better, and just they weren't given the opportunity.
well, okay, what I was going to say is they gave quotes in interviews about it, and I don't remember which one of them said this. I'm terribly sorry for not remembering that. Um, but they mentioned Daenerys and the Iron Fleet. Well, she kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet, and there's a clip on YouTube. Um, you can probably find it just by looking up Daenerys and the Iron Fleet, where he repeats that that little quote from him, and then it's intercut in between all the scenes, just in like 2 or 3 episodes where they talk about the Iron Fleet. But some of the other problems I have with it are, I don't want to say Daenerys has plot armor, but she has plot armor, very, very thick plot armor, especially when it comes to attacking King's Landing. Because if you noticed, the episode before that, I think it was Rhaegal was the dragon that got killed that episode. Spoiler alert. Um, didn't seem to be able to miss with the scorpions that were on the ship. But every one of them on the ships and every one of them on the ramparts around King's Landing, they all missed entirely. I don't get it. It's stupid. She had plot armor she shouldn't have had, and Jon Snow should have been executed because there's no way that Grey Worm would have let him live, and that's just two problems. I could keep going. Arya should be dead. Arya, in fact, shouldn't have been able to kill the Night King. Because if you look at what he did to Theon, why did he just stand there and look at Arya like, hi, how are you? Lazy writing. I have come to hate Arya. Now, here's the thing. I like Arya, okay? I like how she became a badass. She's great. It's wonderful. But I hate how she got there. But again, entirely other story. And
Oh,
we've been
oh
talking
wait, wait,
about
wait.
this.
And then it doesn't make any sense because if she is able to dodge every single scorpion possible, why did she let the Iron Fleet destroy her navy and capture the lady and
Exactly.
stuff?
Exactly. And in fact, how did Miss Sunday get captured? Because she was on the skiff. And the next thing you know, everybody else is on the beach. Where's Miss Sunday? How'd she get captured? How was she the only one that got captured? I want to know that. And since we're talking about fleets being destroyed, how did Euron manage to make it to the exact place that Jamie was at? How does that happen? I want to know. You see, this is what happens when you open the Pandora's box of critiquing things that you love, because you find all these little flaws. Terrible, terrible flaws. And
Except these aren't little flaws. These are
I
big,
know, I
gaping,
know.
infected
Th-
flaws.
exactly. These are things that shouldn't have happened. I mean, it's almost as if it's entirely devoid of logic. And that's
It's
terrible.
almost as if they wanted big spectacle moments instead of actual story moments. Which is weird because in certain movies that's awesome, like Godzilla.
Godzilla. I mean, here's the thing. Most people don't go to see the human storylines, but guess what? This one had human storylines and it had monster fights. It was great. Look at Michael Bay's Transformers. Nobody goes for the plot for that, even though, one of the problems is that, well, I don't remember it having a storyline. Well, it does. It actually does. I'm probably the only person who can tell you how it gets from point A to point B to point C. By the way, Optimus Prime is not a good guy in the movies. But at the same time, I didn't go to see it, to hear about Sam and his girlfriend and his
That's a robot.
no, no, the blonde that was put there to replace Megan Fox because Megan Fox pissed off King of Jordan, filming the second movie, and
I like how
said,
your
"I
voice
didn't
just
come
dies
here."
while talking about this.
Yeah, because you can tell. And I got a new Optimus Prime for Christmas. Okay, I love Transformers, but no, just the reason Megan Fox, in case y'all don't know, but did not go in other ones, is because she and Michael Bay did not get along, and when they were invited by the Prince of Jordan to come to a state dinner for them, because he's around our age, he's a Transformers fan. Megan Fox declined, and the reason was, I quote, "I didn't come here to see pyramids and speak to people just to make a movie." So she didn't get to come back to Dark of the Moon, which is the best of the five movies. And even I have problems with it. But yeah, I just I didn't go see those movies to see, stupid storyline. I want to see Optimus Prime be cool and fight Megatron and hear,
And
Frank Welker and scream "Die
there's
Autobots," and I didn't even get to hear that. I
see,
got sad.
I want to say something too because there's nothing wrong with going to go to a movie to see a spectacle. That is perfectly reasonable and I get movie critics criticize these kinds of movies a lot. Some I understand much more than others. Like I understand the criticisms against Transformers much more than I do the criticisms against Godzilla movies. Because if the movie is giving you the things that you want, and what we want to see in movies like this is big monster or robot fights or something like that, that it's doing its job. It's being a good movie.
It is, and see, okay, just to kind of emphasize this, I'm showing, for everyone watching, I'm showing the trailer, like the last trailer that was released, just so you can see, some of the spectacle from the movie. Because King of the Monsters was amazing. It was really well done. This is a great movie, and it has a human story. It has, it has to have a human plot line. It's giant monsters coming to kill us all. Um, well, not really coming to kill us all. Just some people get to live, but it's great, and you get to see how these monsters impact mankind. Probably more in this than you do in the Japanese ones, and that's something I never thought I would say. Well, except for Shin Godzilla, but this one not only references, of course, the 24th, like it's a direct continuation of it, obviously. But the world has become much more dangerous because Monarch, the group that exists, is that I believe you're first introduced to Monarch in Kong Skull Island. I think was the first time we see them. I don't really remember, but um, what was I going to say, Nick? Yeah,
I
there's a human storyline to this, and it's good. It's wonderful. Everyone loves it. It's great. It's good. Go see it for the human storyline.
well, I don't
Even
know if
go see
everyone
it for the
loves.
giant monsters.
I don't know if everyone loves this human storyline, but I do know everyone loves the monster fights.
Well, no, see, the human storyline in this is good. It's really good, and it's part of the story, and it interplays with the giant monsters fighting. Ta-da! Surprise! Cool. Go see it. That's all I can really say. Is just go see it.
Yeah, but before we lose ourselves in more Godzilla, because Godzilla is, not that I mind losing myself in Godzilla. But did you see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
I might have possibly seen Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. I
If you
really might have.
if you did possibly see it, did you enjoy it?
I might have possibly enjoyed seeing Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. Who will know?
Well, you could tell us, and then we would know.
I could, but why would I tell you something like I enjoyed seeing a movie?
Because that's our job. That's literally our job on here.
Yeah, but I think in the first episode I clearly established I'm not a Spider-Man fan. But yes, I watched it. Um I enjoyed it. And, just for reference, I'm showing again the trailer for it. If you haven't seen it, I would actually recommend that you go watch it. Really, it's great. It's probably the best Spider-Man movie.
It
And
is.
and, 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 and,
I
and that's saying something for me, to say that.
I
It's
I
probably the best.
I would I would only argue that maybe Spider-Man 2 is better for me specifically, just because of nostalgia and how much I loved that movie when it came out. But if I'm being honest, Into the Spider-Verse is a far superior and better movie. Um, but the reason I wanted you to see this wasn't just because it is the best Spider-Man movie ever and awesome and one of the best animated movies probably in the last couple of years. Um, it's the multiverse plot lines that they introduce in this movie could come into play in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Well, see,
Uh,
the thing about that is we already know that's going to happen.
well, yeah, and the thing that I wanted to emphasize is that Spider-Man Far From Home actually might be the most important post Endgame movie because I really think it's going to establish the entirety of Phase 4 with what it's going to do. And I really wasn't expecting that when I first heard that there was going to be a new Spider-Man movie. I just thought it was going to be another Spider-Man movie, which I like because I like Spider-Man.
Well, we all know you like Spider-Man. I mean, you
Well,
can go
yeah,
back and look at our first show. And Nick obviously likes Spider-Man.
yes, yes, I do. But so I'm really I was already, I wasn't, I wouldn't say I was super excited for the Spider Far From Home.
Wait,
I
wait, wait,
was
wait, 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 wait. Before we get into this, obviously, spoiler warning. If you haven't seen it, feel free to pause the show and go watch it and then come back to us. It's fine. And if you're watching, if you're watching or listening live and you haven't seen it, definitely look for the episode when it's on YouTube later on, because I don't want to be responsible for spoiling this for you, and I doubt Nick does either.
of course. But yeah, where was I? So obviously with Endgame, Tony snaps and the Hulk snaps, the Infinity Gauntlet. And what they say is it opened up dimensional rifts. And this is really, I don't know if they exactly planned this or what, but this is a really, really clever way to bring in the other Marvel entities that they have not been able to bring in. So this is a way that they can bring in the Fantastic Four, they can bring in Deadpool, they can bring in the X-Men. And God knows they need to bring in the Fantastic Four and X-Men to save them.
No, 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 please. Let's not try with the Fantastic Four again, because I definitely remember discuss. Well. Did we discuss this on the show when I went to go see Fantastic Four? Because I went to see it with my sister. The same one I went to see this with today.
Wait,
So
which
go,
Fantastic Four? The most recent one?
yes, the most recent one.
The one
Walked
that
out of
the one that actually makes the originals look passable?
the one that makes the originals. Wait, let me rephrase this. The one that makes Rise of the Silver Surfer look like a fantastic movie? Yes. You see what I did there? You see what I did there? I made a joke, because the Fantastic Four, I called it fantastic. Yay! Go me! Yeah! Woohoo! Anyway, no.
Well,
We walked out of the
I
theater, and I just pulled out my phone because I was gonna. I forget what it was. I was looking up about it, and the first story I saw, and this was on release weekend, opening weekend for the movie. Uh, the studio had like Fox. I think Fox did it. They had canceled Fantastic Four 2. Like, no, I'm sorry. This was the second day of its opening because we had gone that Saturday. It opened on a Friday. We went that Saturday. So the second day, they canceled the sequel to that and went ahead and greenlit Deadpool 2 because it opened so poorly. And that is the most remarkable thing I have ever heard about any movie. I have never heard a movie that is so bad that they cancel part 2 on opening day. They hadn't even finished the weekend, and they
it
canceled it. That's how bad it was.
yeah, but this is Marvel Studios we're talking about, so I'm willing to give them a chance on these things. I think my predictions, at least partly from what I've read and what I've heard, is they're going to introduce Deadpool somehow, and they might introduce Venom somehow into the MCU.
We need to at some point in time have a discussion about Venom because I watched it. It was great.
It yeah, I've heard a lot of mixed things from Venom, but I know a lot of people genuinely like Venom, and Sony's been really weird lately. They've come out with some really good comic book movies for a change. Um, and Fox has, with the Deadpool movies, been great, and Logan been great, but with other things, they've been really, really bad with. So
It's really hard to find a good X-Men movie and I say this as being an X-Men fan, it's really hard.
Yeah,
Really hard. Logan's the only one that I care about.
it is by far the best X-Men movie by leaps and bounds, and
It's the only X-Men movie.
I would be okay with that actually.
It's the only one that counts. It's great. And I have been watching Hugh Jackman pretend he is immortal for nearly 20 years. It's the only one that matters.
pretty much. But yeah, so I'm really, really curious to see how this plays out, because they could do other things too. Like they could bring in Miles Morales as Spider-Man too. They could do multiple Spider-Mans in the MCU. They could bring in Gwen Stacy. They could do all kinds of really neat and interesting things. We know they've been like hinting at a Howard the Duck sequel, and if they're going to do something as crazy as Howard the Duck, there's all kinds of things that they could do, and it's for me that's really exciting.
I think the reason for Howard the Duck is because people like me remember the first movie. I liked the movie. Damn it, I enjoyed Howard the Duck. I don't care that other people didn't. That's fine. You're allowed to like things and dislike things. I liked Howard the Duck. Fight me. But when I saw him, and this is, a slight spoiler alert here. If you watch, uh, um, what is the name of the Avengers movie that just came out? I've forgotten already. I'm terrible.
Endgame.
Yeah, how could I forget that? Jeez. Anyway, Howard the Duck is in Endgame. Like, it's just a really quick cameo. You have to know he's there or you will miss him. It's great. It's wonderful. I love it. It involved Howard the Duck in all of the things. But, like you were saying about the multiple Spider-Men. Yes, they could do that. And the reason I think that they could get away with that is not that I want to see, Tom Holland retire as Peter Parker or anything like that. But there is a cause we do know there is going to be a multiverse thing. There's enough known about Far From Home where, like with Mysterio, we know he is not from our Earth, and there's I forget how many universes there are in the Marvel verses. At least 6 or 7. I forget. Anyway, well, more than
Well,
that because
I
we're
I think
like
it's like I think it's like DC where there's hundreds, but they only focus on a few.
it might be because I think our Earth is 616, isn't it?
I I yeah I yeah that sounds right.
Anyway, Mysterio is obviously not from our universe. That's why he has all those great powers. Um, so it is definitely possible that they could bring in uh other characters. And what you see in here, of course, there's Peter Parker. There's actually 2 Peter Parkers. Spoiler alert. Miles Morales, who, by the way, I am very pleased with them introducing him, because the general story for this is actually his origin story in the comics. Peter Parker. I don't think Peter Parker dies.
No, he does die in the comics. That
You
is part
sure?
of the story. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well,
In
then he
Miles
dies.
Morales' universe, he dies. I think it's a different death, from, if I remember right, from the movie Spiderverse, but he definitely dies.
I wasn't sure if he retired or died. But anyway, um, the storyline of the movie is basically that. It's just there's some slight alteration to it. It's almost as if there's some kind of shift, and it brings in Penny Parker Gwen Stacy, Peter Porker, who I think I might be one of 5 people who's aware of Peter Porker. It's a funny comic. You should look it up if you ever get a chance to find it. And obviously Miles Morales. And then there's Spider-Man Noir, which I don't know anybody that knows of that unless you're obsessive about Spider, because even you've
I
never
didn't know
mentioned it.
about him.
But I love it.
But
It's a really great way to introduce all these characters, to
also
like the average.
getting Nicolas Cage to play Spider-Man Noir is one of the greatest things ever.
Yes, he was really good at this. He was. I can't think of an animated character that is more Nicolas Cage than Spider-Man.
It was beautiful. It was perfect. I was smiling from ear to ear every time that he was on screen.
But okay, as far as uh the original Peter Parker in this, I like how we get a background for all of them and how it is their origin story for their own particular universe. And
if I remember right, they're going to do some spin-off stories for, I think, at least Penny Parker.
I would watch that.
I
would
think she's
absolutely
gonna
watch
get
that.
a cartoon series, if I remember right.
I would watch that. I would
Um,
actually. Okay. I have to back up just a little bit because the Peter Parker in this universe, and this might just be fan service. I mean, it might and it might not be. Um, Everything in every Spider-Man movie, everything, including the emo hair and the dancing, is canonical, and that just blows my mind
and
because this is
it's beautiful.
it is, it really is, and I know as far as the MCU goes that Tom Holland's Spider-Man has been being Spider-Man for year and a half, something like that. I don't remember how long doing it. Which, by the way, uh, having thought about that, his original costume that he wore is, well, okay, the one that he made that fell out of his ceiling, whatever it was, is kind of reminiscent of Miles Morales's in this one, like with the hoodie and the sneakers. Did you happen to catch that?
I did.
Yeah, that's a nice touch. Um, but okay, but this Peter Parker did the emo dancing. He did the kiss upside down. He did the thing where Doc Ock throws the. I think it was Doctor Octopus throws a truck through a window, like it makes it all canonical. And I was watching it. I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. That's
And
brilliant to do that. And
now
and if this is supposed to be, and I feel like it is, but if this is supposed to be the same Peter Parker in the live action MCU, that only makes it even better because that means that Tom Holland at some point in time is going to dance, baby.
I would love to see Tom Holland dance, especially because we have seen Tom Holland dance before. I want to see him
Yes.
dance as
Yes,
Spider-Man.
he was on Celebrity Lip Sync Battle or whatever
Yeah,
it was
that was it.
called, and he danced and sang, and I was like, "Oh man, that's awesome!"
Um, but yeah, and I think probably the 3 biggest. Wait, before I even say that, one other thing that I really loved was they showed 2 different versions of Peter Parker. They
Yeah,
showed one that was super successful and one that was basically a failure. Not as a superhero, but just in their general life. So I thought that was really great. But I think right now, if I remember right, the 3 biggest versions of Spider-Man are Miles Morales, Peter Parker, of course, and Gwen Stacy. And they could do all 3 with this, which is really, really cool.
I would be perfectly okay with Gwen Stacy in a Spider-Man movie, but
Well, not just in the Spider-Man movie, but as her own Spider-Man.
Exactly. Well,
Like
either okay.
in the universe, because that's what
I
they did.
wouldn't mind if they call her Spider Woman or White Widow or whatever. I'd be fine with it. It'd be great. Add more characters, and that's what the MCU. Even movies that are not directly connected, like and Deadpool and Venom, they're great because there is a possibility that they could be connected, and I like that a lot because they are really good at especially the mainline film. They're really good at introducing characters that you probably wouldn't think would be in there, and the way they bring them in seems to be natural, except for Captain Marvel. I've and
Captain
I don't
Marvel is probably their biggest misstep by far. Yeah.
yeah, and I like Captain Marvel, and okay, I don't want to derail the conversation because I want to stay on Spider-Man, but I do at some point in time want to actually get into my thoughts on Captain Marvel. I liked the movie. I liked her in Endgame, and I think I said this in a recent episode. I love Brie Larson, but I just I have kind of a problem with her as a character, and the more I think about it, the more it bothers me. Anyway, um, what you were saying about Peter Parker being a failure, I love that we see that echoed with Miles. Uh, because as Peter Parker had to learn how to do all his spider stuff, Miles having to learn how to do it as well. And there is it's a very well done scene, in fact. His first jump off of a building, trying to see if he can jump between them and land and catch himself. He falls, I don't know how many stories, but I mean, of course he's fine, and a normal person would not be fine. And I don't think that's ever been shown to happen with Peter Parker. I don't think
I
Peter ever had
I
that kind of.
I think in the original movies he did like land and like slam into a building or something, if I remember right.
Well, no, I mean, I don't think that he ever, fell, down to the ground and hit the ground. But we see Miles do that. And that's really important because okay, how can I put this? It's growth for him. You know, the whole movie, he's trying to figure out how to be Spider-Man because he realizes Spider-Man's gone. There's no one he can learn from. The new Peter Parker shows up, and the new one is kind of he's not really kind of he's very apathetic towards being willing to help the
He's basically done as being Spider-Man. He doesn't want to do it really. He's just
pretty
doing
much
it because he knows there's no one else to do it.
yeah, but that goes along with the world building for the characters because not only do we have I mean, I run through the list again. We have Miles. We have two Peter Parkers. Well, except one dies. Spider-Man Noir, uh, Penny Parker, and Gwen
And
Stacy, and Peter Parker.
yep,
But when we're getting all the little backstories for them, we see all these individual things done. You know, uh, it's great, and it really does give you the sense that not only do these characters just have something that they've done that's in common, they were all bitten by a spider. Great, cool, cares. Um, they their personalities are built up in the show, and in the end of it, when they all go back to their own universes, it's kind of like it tugs on your heartstrings a little bit. It's like, oh man, I'm gonna miss these, especially Miles. Um,
yeah,
because there's
because
that
he
one scene.
finally found someone to connect with, some
Yes,
friends. He
now granted, his roommate in the school he's in is supposed to be his best friend from the comics, but
yeah,
he's never named whatever. It's fine.
They clearly show he's going to be the best friend.
Yeah, but I like how I know he'll probably never speak to to alternate universe Gwen Stacy again. I get that, but
Well, it seemed like they
it
were going to do a sequel somehow with Gwen Stacy at the end. I don't
I'd
know if
watch
you
that.
caught
I'd
the.
watch that.
I don't know if you caught the end where like the dimensional rift opens up again and you can hear Gwen Stacy calling out to Miles.
Yes, that's what I was thinking about. There's something that still somehow connects them all, and that's like being a reader of a comic book or watching a TV show or something like that, and you realize, oh, this is all interconnected. It's like, oh wait, what if this could happen? And you're thinking, it's like, well, are they ever going to speak to one another again? And it's like, just it. I don't really know how to describe it, but
I
it's
can't
very well done.
I can't remember if it was from the cartoon or the comics, but I think it's actually from the cartoon. But one of the things they introduced was the Lady of the Web. I don't know if you remember this. And basically the Lady of the Web says that there is a version of Spider-Man in every single universe and every Marvel and timeline too. And that I'm not sure about the exact specifics of it because I can't remember off the top of my head. But basically, the Spider-Man mutant gene or whatever connects them, and part of the Spider-Man's job basically is to keep the multiverse intact.
So basically, Spider-Man is the most is okay. This is where I have to bring in Brie Larson and her interviews again. I won't get too much into it. There's several times where you see her talking to Chris Hemsworth, and they're talking about who's the most powerful character in the Marvel universe, and even I'm aware of what you just said. Like just for full transparency, even I'm aware of Spider-Man's importance. But they're arguing about who's the most powerful, and I'm watching this, and she's like, "Well, I'm of course the most powerful." And he's like, "No, you're not." And she's like, "Yes, I am." And he's like, "No, you're not." And the entire time watching it, I'm like, "Well, no, Spider-Man."
It's true.
Because he is. I mean, he's kind of it seems almost strange to say it, but he is the flagship character for Marvel. People will think, well, it's like Captain America, Thor,
Or
or
Iron
Iron
Man
Man.
or Thor, but
Yeah,
it's not.
yeah.
It's Spider-Man.
And it has been since his introduction. It's like
It
Batman is the flagship character for DC, and you would think it'd be Superman or Wonder Woman, but it's not. It's Batman. That is,
and they
there's always a
compare
character.
yeah, and they've always compared or at least fans have always compared Spider-Man to Batman. They're obviously two very different heroes, but they kind
But
of
their importance to their comic universe is the most important thing.
not
And
not only
and
their importance, but the role that they play in being the hero that's often overlooked or underestimated.
and if I'm not mistaken, there is a version of Spider-Man where he's not a good guy, just like there is Batman. And there's other characters who have been Spider-Man, obviously, in these alternate universes, just like Batman. I mean, they're literally the linchpins of their entire universe. And it's brilliant to show that in a movie, because most people. Now, okay, now I want to say this and it not sound like I'm being a jerk, but there are people, who like comic books, they like the movies, like you and I, they're really into all this kind of stuff. And then there's the casual viewer. this is a really great way to introduce the casual viewer, of these movies. Like, oh, cool, I like animated movies. I'll go watch this. Or hey, look, I kind of like the other movies. Maybe I'll like this. Just whoever it is gets, or maybe their kid wants to go see it. Whatever. They're gonna watch it, and they are learn a lot of stuff about Spider-Man, and that's
Especially if
cool.
you,
That's great.
I'm not sure the credits. I believe it's Spider-Man 2077 is talking to an AI, and she's talking about that the multiverse basically was kept intact, and they have a really hilarious kind of meme scene where he goes back in time to the original cartoon, where the two Spider-Men are pointing at each other, which was it was I really hope you got to see that. If not, you need to find the end credit scene somewhere. It was really funny.
I actually don't think I watched all the credits. Because it's available to watch at home now. I watched it, and I don't think I did. I really don't.
I highly suggest just finding it.
Which
It's a
which
really
means I'm gonna have to watch it again. That's fine. I don't mind watching it again. I loved it. I mean, I'm okay. I'm not generally someone who would watch a Spider-Man movie multiple times. The Tom Holland ones, yeah, I'll probably watch them more than once. This one, definitely. I will definitely watch this again at some point in time. Maybe even 3 or 4 times. I don't know.
It is
It's
by
that good.
far the best Spider-Man movie ever, and that I love the original Raimi Spider-Mans. I really like the Tom Holland Spider-Man. But Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is just
I
so.
noticed there was a Spider-Man movie you left out, or a couple of
There
them actually.
are, but I can't remember what those are. They just seem to slip my mind.
It's almost as if they were bad in some way. Just it's almost as if they should have been canceled before opening weekend, like was done with Fantastic Four. I mean, just it's almost as I
It's
I
al-
I don't know. I just can't remember
it's
because they
almost as
weren't
if
rememberable movies. They
it's
were
almost as
terrible.
if it's almost as if Sony made a movie just to keep the rights to Spider-Man.
They didn't make a movie. They made 2 movies, and they were terrible. Sony, if you ever hear me say this, don't do it again.
Well, now Marvel has its hands on at least Spider-Man, so hopefully that never happens again.
Can I talk about my favorite thing in it?
Sure.
And I mean, I know that's saying something because obviously I really liked it, and therefore the whole thing is my favorite. But
Like
I want to
the
talk about
soundtrack?
the soundtrack is great. Soundtrack is obviously great. But no, my favorite thing is this is the final okay, this is a posthumous role for Stan Lee, and he's only gotten to ever play a character that he created 3 times. Okay, uh, there is a quote in the movie where they're talking about stuff Peter Parker's done. You hear the voice of J. Jonah Jameson. It's Stan Lee. He is in the movie as the owner of like a what was I thinking of?
The comic book store.
Yeah, he owns that, and then he's also one of the people who walks over Peter Parker and Miles Morales when they're laying in the middle of the street. It's
Also,
great.
I have to mention that when he said this, anyone can wear the suit, and the suit always fits eventually. I did tear up a bit at that.
That was a good line, And okay, the reason I'm bringing it up is when I saw him. Okay, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on the show, but I like I emotionally cry. Like there are things that will just I can't help it. It gets to me. And hearing excuse me, trying to do it right now. Just thinking about it. Hearing Stanley's voice in this really got to me. And in the end of it, there is a beautiful tribute to him. It's a quote. Uh, it just says that person who helps others simply because it should or must be done, and because it is the right thing to do, is indeed, without a doubt, a real superhero.
And
And like that's the best thing in the movie to me.
and
And
circling
it's
back, just real fast, that really is a reflection on Peter B. Parker, the failed Spider-Man, who is by all accounts a failure of a Spider-Man, but he still goes to help people. He still teaches Miles
yeah,
because it's the right thing to do. And
exactly.
even though he doesn't want to do it, even though he's tired and exhausted and just doesn't want to deal with this anymore, he still goes out and does it.
And I really don't know if you or I can really quantify exactly how important that is in any Spider-Man movie or Batman or anything. I mean, the idea that there's someone who is an abject failure, and is still worth like it's still a very valuable teacher to somebody. Like you. Okay, I'm trying to think of something else where that's been the case. I can't.
I
Because
think
usually
I think maybe the closest I can come is Bruce Wayne in Batman Beyond.
yeah, but
I mean, it's not as close. I still think it's better reflected here with Peter B. Parker, but that's the closest that I can really think of someone that really just feels like a failure.
well, okay. The thing with Batman is you also have to consider the Dark Knight Returns. Now, I know that's not typically considered canonical. I wish it was. It's a great end for Batman. Um, but the way he well, never mind. He doesn't really teach Robin in there, but I really am trying to think of something honestly, and I keep wanting to say Mr. Miyagi and Karate Kid, but that's not the truth. I mean,
Because Mr. Miyagi is not a failure. He's
well, okay, people would look at him as a failure, and um,
But Mr.
the
Miyagi doesn't feel like he's a failure. I mean,
no, no, he
yeah.
doesn't. But like there's every movie or book or whatever where there's someone who's some kind of educator to someone younger, like that, like as a protege or whatever. Uh, I really can't think of one where it's someone who is a failure and has done terribly at their job and has never really succeeded at anything, or they have and it's just somehow all fallen apart. And that is honestly, I think Peter B. Parker more than Peter Parker ever has. And I know, okay, in the movie he actually tells Miles Morales to not say this. But the whole with great power comes greater responsibility. That the
Yeah.
Spider-Man mentor. Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
Um, I think Peter B. Parker in this actually represents that more than any other version of Spider-Man I have ever seen in my life.
He does. He really really does. And the spoiler alert partly when he's about to go back to his universe and Miles is telling him that he has to go back because it's his responsibility to take care of that place. and he doesn't want to go back because he feels like he's gonna screw everything up again. And he basically says that Miles says he has to take a leap of faith because he's Spider-Man. That's what he has to do. It's his job, his responsibility, because he's the only one with the power to fix things and make sure
That's right.
that they're the way they're supposed to be. And it's
And
such a beautiful moment. Like it's really it's the epitome of why I love Spider-Man.
and I think the most important thing there is just like, the quote from Stanley and the tribute at the end of it. Even if you can't fix it, even if you are a miserable failure in every attempt that you make, even if you can't fix it, the fact that you are willing to attempt it and the fact that you know, give it your all, that says something about you. And not only does Miles learn something valuable from Peter B. Parker, and of course the audience does, but he learns something from Miles, and it's, you know, don't give up, keep going.
It was I don't like I hope that they can make a better Spider-Man movie, of course, but I don't know if they'll be able to.
I don't think it's possible to make a better. I mean, unless somehow Far From Home somehow beats this, which I don't think that it will. No, they won't. They really won't.
It and it but yeah, so before we keep ranting on about Into the Spider-Verse, I'm just really excited for Far From Home now. Even though I don't think it will be as good as Spider-Verse, I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with Spider-Man and what they're going to do with the multidimensional aspect, because one of the things that they did in the comic books is because I don't know if you remember this, but Marvel basically had two universes running at the same time for a while. I believe it was the Ultimate Universe and the regular version. And
I think they still do.
well, no, I think if I remember correctly, what happened is the Ultimate Universe got so popular that when they went to end it, like the universe collapsed or something, they brought over a couple of the Ultimate Heroes into the regular universe. So, if I remember right, Miles Morales is part of Earth 616 now.
I think he is.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to see if they bring Gwen Stacy in, if they bring Miles Morales in. Obviously, they're bringing Deadpool over. And Disney said they're going to keep the R rating for Deadpool, so I'm happy about that. I know there are plans for a Fantastic Four movie. The biggest question mark is probably going to be X-Men and how they handle that. Because I think a lot of people are tired of X-Men movie right now after the last two were basically awful and terrible.
I tried to like. Okay, I really tried to like them, and it's not that I find it utterly impossible to. It's just they're telling well, okay, well, with a few exceptions, they're telling the same story. Like we've had two movies in the new continuity with Jean Grey, and she's already become Phoenix. Why? Why? Why is there like one X-Men story they can go with, and they can't seem to magic up anything else out of all the other stories? Why is it always Jean Grey turning into Phoenix?
And Phoenix
Why?
doesn't make any sense because you need the buildup of Jean Grey being a hero for a long time for the emotional impact of Phoenix to have any sort of effect.
Like, if I'm not mistaken, there was what 3 or 4 movies before Famke Jensen's Jean Grey went and she was an adult. She was in it like she had become an adult by then. She had been an X-Men for a while and became an adult, was teaching at school and then and then she turns into Phoenix. That was great. I love that. There was a build up there and it was great to watch that.
I think
And
The Last Stand is actually better just because of that than Dark Phoenix.
although I can't really say I haven't seen Dark Phoenix. Oh yeah.
I
I
mean,
might I might, just for the purpose of being able to discuss it on the show, I might give in and go see it. But then again, it might be like Solo, and I just wait till it comes out because the one that I can't even remember where they had Apocalypse before this that I don't care. I just don't care, man. Jeez. And
it's one of those weird mistakes like the DC did with Justice League, where they were like, "You guys know these stories, right? So here's all the characters with their
except
big
except
giant character arcs already done."
except here's the thing. DC did it better than the X-Men have.
Oh no, I don't
What
disagree with that, but it is the same mistake basically though.
it is okay, but okay. Here's the thing. You Jesus, to have Apocalypse, who is probably the most important enemy the X-Men have ever faced.
He's the equivalent of Thanos,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
Galactus, or
yeah. To bring him in and give, like 5 minutes of background, in ancient Egypt. Well, you did have this, the scene in the movie before that where you see him building pyramids, whatever. But to kind of bring him in and be like, well, here he is, he's off. That's how it's played off, and then the movie kind of leads you on a little, and then he wakes up and he finds a horseman, and Angel has always been one of my favorite characters. I even loved him after he became Archangel. I love Storm. I love Psylocke. They're great. They're wonderful. Beautiful. Keep doing it. I'm all for it. And I actually like the way that they're treating Magneto in this continuity. I like it. There are things I generally a bad version of the X-Men characters. But with Apocalypse, he needs a little bit more build up. There needs to be a reason to understand why he's so bad. And not just this one movie where he's written off and he's gone. It's not like Killmonger and Black Panther should have probably had a much more lengthier storyline. Why not just have Ulysses Claw partner with him, and then Killmonger escapes or something? Because Killmonger is just
well,
as far as Black Panther goes.
some of the
He's
rumors I heard is that he might be back. I've heard rumors.
I don't know how. I really don't. I mean,
Vibranium magic.
well, I know he's dead. Like he's actually dead. And the way I know he's dead is because you remember they did the thing where they removed the powers from both of them. He's dead. He's dead. But
I know, but I know
I don't.
he's at least slated to appear in the next Black Panther. I don't know if he'll be alive or it's a flashback or what, but he's going to play some kind of role.
I just don't know how you kill off probably two of the most important bad guys that Black Panther has to fight in one movie, and it's gonna make for a good sequel. I don't get it. It's like
Well,
defeating Apocalypse. They didn't even bring Apocalypse into the original X-Men movies. Why are they bringing him in this one? And you take him out in one. Well, literally the only goddamn thing left is Phoenix. I mean, it's not that there are other X-Men storylines, because there are, and there are some that are really good, but that's really the only thing you have left, is if you do away with Apocalypse. Why can't Apocalypse be, a background threat like Thanos was? He's that important. It's like if they had started out, let's just go with the Christian Bale version of Batman. If Christopher Nolan had said, "Hey, in the first one, we're gonna have the Joker, and we're gonna have you kill him," you wouldn't need the rest of them, because nobody's gonna watch the goddamn movie to see Batman kill the Joker. It's like Batman 1989. Well, he kills the Joker in there. Well, you have Catwoman and the Penguin in the next one. That's neat. What does he do? Kills them.
I
And
think
then
it's
it's like
I think it's
it
the old school way of thinking in comic book movies that they need to complete the story in one movie because they don't plan on making any more.
well, except for the Christopher Nolan movies did it the right way. And that's probably the greatest praise I can ever give them. He did an excellent Batman. And the reason I'm saying that is, now, okay, I understand why Ra's al Ghul had to die. I get that. And I know why they killed, they killed off Two-Face and Bane and Charlie al Ghul. I'm okay with it. But the thing they did right is they did not kill off the Joker, because in The Dark Knight Rises, find out, oh, he's just been locked away. Great, that's awesome. That's the way you do it, because the Joker is integral to Batman's story. You can kill off Two-Face, and you can and if he had kept on going with the movies, they could have added in other members of the Rogues Gallery, but they couldn't, because they ended it that way. But that was a very well done way of doing it. And I think if we're going to be getting new Batman movies, we're going to do it that way. But
oh yeah, aren't you excited for the new Batman?
yeah, actually I am. I think Robert Pattinson will be great. I really do.
I want to see Batman sparkle in the sunlight.
Hey, no. I really think he'll be a good Batman. I honestly do. I really do. Just like I think that
Well,
Joaquin Phoenix is going to be a fantastic Joker.
I don't actually disagree with you. I actually think Robert Pattinson will be a good Batman. But the hilarity of Batman sparkling would be too amazing to pass up. So I really hope they actually make him sparkle just as a joke.
Nah, they're not going to do that. They're going to treat him seriously, which is how they should. It's Batman.
There's always time for a joke.
No. There's never time for a joke. Unless it's Joker. Later this year,
Wait, what if the Joker makes Batman sparkle?
I'm gonna hit you one day,
You
you're gonna
can't
deserve
argue with it. You can't argue with that.
No. Just one day. I just want you to understand. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
You can't argue with the Joker that the Joker would do something like that, make Batman sparkle.
I don't know, because the new Joker is Joaquin Phoenix, and I just can't wait to see. At least, I don't want to say this. At least
Although
it's not the Joker from Suicide Squad. Oh my God! Shoot me now.
I'm kind of confused about Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, because is it a one-off movie? Is it part of the DCEU? I'm really confused now.
I believe that it is going to lead into Robert Pattinson as Batman.
But I don't think they're part of the DCEU, so are they just going with Batman movies on their own again?
Yeah. I don't think there's going to be more Justice League stuff. At least for a while.
But that's also confusing, because I thought they're going to try to continue the Justice League thing.
I don't know. I really don't. But honestly, Batman is kind of better all alone. This is why Superman works alone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you. I'm just really confused about what their goal actually is. Like, are they just going? I mean, I'm fine with them making solo DC movies because there's lots of great stories to tell and lots of great heroes. But are they going to try to compete with Marvel directly like they were, or are they just like screw it? We're just gonna make solo movies. I'm kind of confused now.
I don't think that DC can. Okay, I don't think DC can compete with Marvel for live action, unless this is the only exception, unless it is Batman. That is the only DC character that will outperform any Marvel character ever, and I think everybody in the world can acknowledge that because it's the truth. It
Well,
is the literal truth. The
no.
only reason that anyone went to see the Justice League movies is not to see, and don't get me wrong, Gal Gadot's amazing. She's beautiful. She's talented, intelligent. She's charming. She's fantastic Wonder Woman. It's not the reason people went to go see it. Not the reason that no one went to go see what's his name Superman. No one cares, or the Flash, or everybody else. No one cares about them. They went to see Batman because you ask someone who's the best character or who had the best scenes in it, they're going to tell you Batman. Ben Affleck was a great Bruce Wayne. He wasn't a bad Batman. He really wasn't like the fight, um, whether in the warehouse. That's some of the best Batman stuff I've ever seen. It was great. It was very well done.
So a lot of actually, Batman isn't even the most successful DC character anymore.
Yeah.
For a single movie, he is not the most successful character anymore.
Yes, he is, and I can prove it to you.
He isn't.
Yes, he is, and I can prove it
I'm
to you.
looking at box office right now.
Well, you see, here's the thing. In just a few days, it will be 30 years since the release of Batman. Actually, we should probably do a show about the importance of this movie, or the impact it's had, rather. But as far as the entire modern superhero genre, as a series of movie, like as a genre, it literally owes its existence to that one movie.
Oh, sure.
That
I would not argue that, but I'm talking um as far as movies go. If unless I'm missing one somewhere around here, The Dark Knight Rises is the most successful Batman movie ever, at 27th all time in rankings. Captain Marvel outperformed that at 22. Aquaman outperformed that at 21. Captain America Civil War outperformed that at 20. Iron Man 3 outperformed that at 18. And Black Panther outperformed that at 10. And then the Avengers movies all did better too. But I agree that Batman is the only live action movie that could compete with Marvel. But I'm not sure that we can say he's will just straight out outperform Marvel movies anymore.
I can. There's a reason for it, and it is specifically because of that movie in '89. That reason is, if you adjust for inflation, that is the most successful superhero movie of all time. Its opening weekend, it took in so much money that if you adjusted it to inflation to today's value of the dollar, it would have made $1 billion opening weekend.
That is
Billion
an impressive
with the
amount.
B. Yes, sir, it is. That's why it is the most successful superhero movie. I mean, for its time, hell yes, it was. For today, most people might say, well, it's not that important, but it absolutely was, and that's the reason why there has not been another movie that's economically for its time, been able to do that. Like we'll have to be years in the future before we can adjust for inflation for like the Avengers or something like that. And then, yeah, it might outdo that movie. But even then,
Um,
the value of the dollar will have changed even more. So 89's value will still be higher. It's crazy. Batman
I
is the best. That's
I,
all.
I just pulled up a domestic gross adjusting for inflation. I'm afraid you
No,
are wrong, sir.
no, do not bring math into this. No, I'm right.
Batman is 57.
I'm right. Don't bring math into this.
I just brought math into this. You
No,
can't escape
no,
math.
I can't escape math.
Uh, Batman earned $567 million with inflation.
It's billion total.
Spider-Man beat him.
No,
Spider-Man has
no,
626.
no. See, you have to account for everything else that goes
Actually, The
into that.
Dark Knight beat the original Batman.
It's not just ticket sales that account for it. It's all the merchandising and everything else.
Now you're just
All
moving the goalpost. Now you're
no,
moving the goalpost.
no, no. I'm not, because you seem to forget all the money that's spent on T-shirts and action figures and everything else. That all goes into it. That
Also,
is,
do you know the number one movie with this? If you adjust the ticket prices for inflation.
where, well, no,
Gone with the Wind.
that was second guessed, but it's Gone with the Wind
Followed by Star Wars.
because everybody's seen Gone with the Wind, and if they haven't, you probably need to spend 4 hours of your life watching.
It's Gone with the Wind, Star Wars, and The Sound of Music.
And frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
You can't escape math.
I can escape math. I really can. Yes. You know how? I have a book older than the state that I live in. Ha 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 ha.
So if we go purely by ticket sales for domestic, not including merchandise and things, Black Panther is the only superhero movie that has beaten The Dark Knight. Well, other than the Avengers.
Well, that's kind of a given because even I saw Black Panther like 4 times, and
It's a
that's before watching it at home. It's a
it's a
good
very
movie.
it's a very good.
It's now
It has some
granted,
problems, but it's a very good.
it does, but I think we've gone on long enough dragging out issues with things we enjoy, at least for now.
For now.
Because this is our longest show. In fact, we're feature length. Yay!
We're a movie now.
Yay! We're a movie. Yay! We're a movie that talked about another movie that I saw today and Nick hadn't seen, and I completely ruined it. No, I didn't.
We've gone meta now. We're a movie about a
Yes,
movie.
yes. Eventually. Oh no, we have been meta because we reference ourselves. Yes,
Yes.
fourth wall all the way.
Completely broken. Shattered. There is no fourth wall.
No, not anymore. But yeah, I guess that's it for today. Can you think of anything else we need to go over?
Let's save some stuff for Monday.
Yeah, by the way, speaking of that, this is supposed to have been yesterday's show. Obviously, we didn't do that. Stuff happened. So thank you for, watching or listening to us live if you've done that, or watching or listening on YouTube if you're doing that. Either way, sorry if it was delayed.
We definitely apologize, but we will be back Monday. We hope we should be. Thanks.
Yeah, we should be, probably at a more decent hour instead of it being at night. Because I feel like a lot of people are probably watching all that tonight because tonight's the premiere of the new season. with
Oh,
the new
oh,
cast.
I
Yeah,
kind of wanted to see that.
yeah, that's tonight. I mean, because
I
who
might
didn't
have
want
to
to watch it?
catch. I might have to catch the rerun.
Because I mean, who didn't want to see a 15-year-old boy do the best drag impersonation ever?
I do. I want to see that.
I do too. I mean, I'm like, I would. Okay, just spoiler alert here. If you're not aware of it, Nathan Janik is like 15, and his go-to impersonation is I just forgot her name. Nick, what's her name?
I can't think
Ariana
of it.
Grande. Ariana
Oh, yeah,
Grande.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, I took a picture of the real Ariana Grande and him dressed up as her and showed it to like a half a dozen people, and nobody could figure out which one was the real one. He looks that much like her.
That is an impressive skill.
It is. It really is impressive. But yeah, we can talk about that on Monday. So, yeah, typical, end of the stuff show that you see, especially on YouTube based shows like ours. Please remember to like this video, comment on it, share it, subscribe our channel, hit the little, the bell button thingy. We have to ask you to do that because YouTube is terrible now. Go to our Patreon, give us all of your money so that we can do more things with the show, like, go see movies and whatnot. Tweet at me. I would say tweet to Nick and like have his on the screen, but Nick does not apparently value the concept of Twitter, Nick,
I'm an old
and
man.
I'm older than you are, and I have Twitter.
No,
Duh.
I'm the old man here. Okay.
No, sorry, no. And while you're doing that, subscribe to our Twitch channel, and which I don't know, you could be watching this on Twitch right now. And if you're watching it live, it's on Twitch and on Twitter, and it'll be on YouTube, and everybody likes things on the internet, Nick, except for you,
Pretty much.
because you're terrible. You're a robot.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. We'll talk to you Monday.